Welcome to part 2 of my ultimate triathlon swim guide, packed with non-stop tips, drills and secrets that can transform your swimming. In this video you'll hear how I went from a complete beginner, gasping for air, to outpacing faster athletes and the exact steps you can use to do the same. You'll discover the 5 simple freestyle fixes that make swimming easier, how to finally master your breathing, why your kick might be holding you back, and the biggest mistakes that athletes make without even realizing it. We'll also cover proven strategies to build your endurance and keep your stroke strong all the way through. So whether you're just starting out or chasing new personal bests, this compilation is packed with everything you need to swim faster, smoother, and with more confidence. And trust me, the best tip of all is waiting for you towards the end.
Imagine going from barely floating in the water to outpacing seasoned swimmers. Well, in this video, I'll share my personal journey of transforming from a non-swimmer into a speed demon in the pool, revealing the techniques and mindset shifts that made it all possible. Stay tuned to discover how you can achieve similar results. So, I was never a swimmer as a kid, although I could just about manage a length or two of a small pool. And I only started swimming properly in my mid-20s when I got a running injury and I wanted to maintain my fitness. I was so bad that a couple of the pool lifeguards felt sorry for me and they started giving me tips. A year later I joined a triathlon club and I started doing some of their group swims, and I even did a few sprint triathlons around that time. But my swimming was so slow that I spent the whole of the bike and run sections trying to catch up all the time that I'd lost in the water. Eventually I got frustrated and I shifted to duathlons, just so I could be more competitive. However, in my mid-30s I decided to get back into swimming and to do things properly this time. I didn't want to be one of the slowest swimmers anymore, so I committed to improving my swimming by joining a master's swim squad with a poolside coach. I forced myself to go along 3 times per week at 7 AM on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. Now, I hate getting up early, so this was a big deal for me. On Sunday nights, most people dread work the next day, but I dreaded having to wake up at 5:45 AM for swimming practice, especially in the winter when it was dark and cold, because de-icing my car at 6:30 AM is certainly not something I enjoy. To make things more challenging, I was one of the worst swimmers in the squad. We had 3 lanes and I was in the slowest lane of the 3. I was even worse when it came down to doing breaststroke, backstroke, butterfly and tumble turns. I'd barely ever done these in my life and I quite frankly felt embarrassed about my technique. On tumble turns, I'd either get loads of water up my nose or I'd emerge in the next door swim lane. But if I have one useful trait, it is staying power. So even though I didn't always love being there, I kept going along 3 times per week consistently for 3 years. And during those 3 years, my times slowly improved. There were no shortcuts and no miraculous breakthroughs, unfortunately. Sometimes it felt like I wasn't improving at all, and other times it did. And although it was a slow process, I steadily moved up through the lanes until I eventually made it to the fast lane after a couple of years. Once I was swimming in the fast lane, my speed actually improved at a faster rate because I was continually being pushed by good swimmers. Plus I was able to observe what they were doing right and then mimic it. I also read books and watched swim videos on YouTube during this time just to help me learn the technique better. Finally, after 3 years, I decided to enter a county championship swim competition for masters just to see how far I'd come. And I managed to swim 100 meters in 63 or 65 seconds, I can't actually remember, but I did win my age group in the process. Now, honestly, I can't swim that fast in training, but in a race, sometimes it feels easier to go faster. That same year, I did the Ironman 70.3 World Championships in Austria, and I completed the 1,900 meter swim in 24 minutes and 50 seconds. And while that's not fast compared to elite swimmers, it was one of the faster age group swims of that day. And it was certainly a huge improvement from where I was a few years previously. So getting my swimming to this level was a great feeling. I never imagined I'd be one of the faster swimmers in my age group, and it felt like I'd been granted a superpower. And there are several side benefits to improving your swimming too. One is that you're less tired when you start the bike section of a triathlon, and that's because you're more efficient during the swim and less fatigued. The second benefit is that as a faster swimmer, triathlon swims are actually less stressful because you don't get caught up in the crowds and you feel more in control. The third benefit is that when you exit the water, you're with faster athletes, and being at the sharper end of the field is both exciting and motivating because the faster athletes help you pace yourself to quicker triathlon times. Fourthly, and perhaps most importantly of all, is that learning to swim is a gift that stays with you for most of your life. In my 40s, I took a 7-year hiatus from swimming, But when I eventually returned to the pool, my technique was still pretty good. Within a few weeks, I was able to complete 1 hour structured swim workouts. And then within 6 months, I was almost back to my best times again. It was a great feeling to be swimming well after such a long time out. So if you want to improve your swimming, I have 5 essential tips for you. Commit to swimming regularly for a long period of time, such as 3 years. Don't expect rapid improvements or breakthroughs. Rather, aim to make lots of tiny improvements over a long period of time. If you keep giving up, you lose all of those small improvements, so do try to stay consistent. If you can attend group swim sessions with a poolside coach, it will motivate you to swim further and faster. And you'll get technique advice too. That's not always an option for everyone, and if you do swim on your own, I recommend that you always follow pre-written, structured swim workouts rather than just making it up as you go along. Just like the structured workouts that I provide in my triathlon training plans, which you can preview by clicking the link in the video description. As a triathlete, swimming backstroke, breaststroke and butterfly may seem like a waste of time, but mastering these strokes teaches you more about streamlining and propulsion than swimming freestyle alone. Not only that, but mixing up your strokes provides a more balanced workout that helps spread the load across the front and back of your shoulders, which lessens the risk of getting an injury from repetitive strain. If you daydream while you're swimming, you won't improve as fast as someone who's always thinking about their stroke. So try to teach yourself about good stroke mechanics by watching videos or reading books. And when you see fast people at the pool, stick your head underwater and notice what they're doing differently to you. How can you implement those things into your own stroke? So don't just plod along thinking about whatever you've got on that day, rather think about your stroke and you'll improve faster. It's easier to improve your stroke when you can easily visualize what you're doing wrong. And the best way to do that is with video footage. Underwater filming is best, although having someone film you with a phone on poolside can also make a big difference. Once you have a short video of yourself swimming, you should then compare it with Olympic swimming footage on YouTube. I'm not saying you'll be able to replicate their technique overnight, but it does help you make small improvements and seeing what they're doing versus what you're doing. Are you ready to master freestyle swimming? These 5 easy steps will take your technique from average to exceptional. Today, we're breaking the freestyle swim technique into 5 simple, actionable steps to help you glide through the water with confidence and efficiency. Whether you're training for a triathlon or looking to improve your fitness, these expert tips will elevate your swimming. The first part of the stroke is the arm entry. So with your fingers loosely pressed together and your hand in a horizontal position, you gently spear your arm into the water. At this point, you should not be applying any force to your stroke. Some people immediately push down at this point, but that's a waste of your energy because it won't get you anywhere. At this point, you're simply positioning your arm in the water, ready for the next step. And that next step is getting your elbow up and your forearm and fingers pointing down towards the bottom of the pool. As soon as your arm has entered the water and is in an extended position, start pointing the fingers, wrist and forearms down towards the tiles on the bottom of the pool. Once you're in that position of power with your elbow up and your fingers pointing down, you can then use the palm of your hand and the soft fleshy underside of your forearm to push towards the pool wall behind you. So in effect, you're pushing the water towards your feet or away from the direction of your travel. And you're not pushing the water up or down or sideways. Think of your hands and the soft underside of your forearms as being like a set of oars on a boat, catching hold of the water and accelerating you along the pool. Or imagine that there's a ladder on the bottom of the pool and you're grabbing hold of the rungs and propelling yourself through the water. As you're swimming along, you should aim for between 45 and 60 degrees of body rotation, which feels like a lot if you're not used to it. Your body rotation should be initiated from your hips as your arm is about to enter the water. and you would rotate away from the stroking arm. One benefit of rotation is that you can reach further and catch hold of the water earlier in your stroke. Doing this also helps you engage the big latissimus dorsi muscles on the side of your torso, so that you're not just relying on your arms and your shoulders. Getting this right can help you avoid repetitive strained shoulder injuries too. At this point, I should say that I've known some very fast swimmers who don't have much body roll at all. And I've also seen some super fast swimmers who roll beautifully to 60 degrees on each side. So I wouldn't over focus on rotation, but it is still worth thinking about if you're keen to improve. So breathing is one of the hardest parts of the freestyle stroke. And the secret is to keep your head relatively low in the water as you're swimming along so that you create a bow wave. If you can do this, you'll find that there's a little trough in the water alongside your face, which is just big enough for you to breathe into without having to lift your head up. If you can master bow wave breathing, it'll help you maintain a nice streamlined position like a dolphin. Just be careful not to over-rotate your head as you go to breathe in, because if you over-rotate your head, it will throw off the rest of your stroke. So just rotate your head a little so that one eye remains under the water and one eye is above the water. And that's how you know how far to rotate your head, and that should be enough for you to inhale properly. Breathing isn't just about inhaling either. You also need to remember to exhale properly before you rotate your head to breathe in. If you don't breathe out fully on each stroke, it can lead to feelings of panic and shortness of breath, which are caused by carbon dioxide building up in your lungs. So try to maintain a nice steady stream of bubbles through your nose or through your mouth while your head is underwater. And try to avoid holding your breath and then letting it all out in one burst just before you turn your head to breathe in. So about 10% of your propulsion comes from your leg kick. And a good kick will keep your body level in the water and maintain your forward momentum. You don't need to kick furiously, just a gentle flutter will be fine with 6 beats per 2 arm strokes. The secret is to kick from the hips and keep your legs from bending too much at the knees. Because if you kick like you're riding a bike underwater, your legs will act like a set of underwater brakes. You should also avoid splitting your legs apart too, for the same reason. It works well if you can practice this at the deep end whilst in a standing position by kicking your legs to keep your head above water. If you're finding it hard to master the freestyle technique, there are some great drills that can help you. And I include them in my inexpensive triathlon training plans with coach support, so just click the link in the description to find out more. Are you struggling to find swim speed? Your kick might be the problem. Watch this video to learn the secrets of a powerful freestyle kick that can transform your swim speed and efficiency. Whether you're a competitive swimmer or a triathlete looking to shave seconds off your swim time, perfecting your kick is crucial. Don't let anyone tell you that triathletes don't need to kick. In this video, I'll explain the technique, common mistakes, and some pro tips for getting faster in the water through kicking. The freestyle kick is all about small, rapid movements originating from the hips. Your legs should be straight and relaxed. You should have a slight bend in the knees and your feet should be pointed so that they don't create drag. So in this video, I'll try to demonstrate what good and bad kicking looks like, but do bear in mind that I'm an amateur triathlete rather than an elite swimmer. So if you can improve upon my technique, that's great, please do so. Let's first focus on some of the common mistakes you might be making. Many swimmers bend their knees too much while kicking, almost like they're riding a bicycle underwater. This mistake turns the kick into a knee-driven action rather than a hip-driven one. Excessive knee bending increases drag and reduces the propulsion that's generated by your legs. A deep kick occurs when the feet sink below the body line, and that creates additional drag and wastes energy. To help maintain a streamlined position, the kick should be compact and stay close to the water's surface. Some swimmers struggle with maintaining a consistent rhythm in their kick. This inconsistency can disrupt the overall rhythm of the stroke, causing breaks or pauses, which then lead to inefficient swimming and loss of propulsion. Stiff ankles limit the ability to point the toes, which in the pool is crucial for the ideal flutter kick to create a more hydrodynamic position in the water. Poor ankle flexibility can cause those legs to sink, so keep up your stretching and mobility. Scissor kicks are commonly caused by having a crossover, which is where one of your arms crosses the center line of your body as it enters the water. The scissor kick itself is a subconscious attempt to stay balanced in the water, but it also slows you down by creating drag and reducing your propulsion. Let's go through some essential drills to improve your kicking. These types of drills are designed to be integrated into your regular swim sessions. This is a great starting drill to build leg strength. You can set a timer and maintain a good kicking rhythm without needing to practice rotation, breathing, or moving forwards through the pool. So perform this drill in the deep part of the swimming pool where your feet cannot touch the bottom. Float upright and use only your legs to keep yourself afloat while maintaining a vertical position. Keep your hands crossed over your chest or stretched out above your head to increase the challenge. The goal is to stay afloat using only the power of your kicks, focusing on quick, small movements from the hips. Using a kickboard helps you focus solely on the kicking motion to help you develop a stronger and more consistent kick. Start by holding a kickboard with your arms outstretched in front of you, keeping your body flat on the surface of the water. Kick with straight but relaxed legs, focusing on initiating the motion from your hips rather than your knees. Keep your ankles flexible and toes pointed. You can practice different speeds and intensities to work on your endurance and strength. This more advanced drill integrates the kick into the overall swimming technique to improve kick efficiency, timing, rotation, and body position in the water. So push off the wall and go onto one side with your one arm extended above your head and the other down by your side. Your face will look in the same direction as your body to make breathing easy. Kick on this side for roughly 6 leg beats before completing one front crawl stroke to face the other side of the pool. Once you've rotated, complete another 6 leg beats. Throughout this drill, keep your body as straight and tight as possible. Now, don't forget that my online triathlon training plans include structured swim workouts and video swim drills like these. And to have a look, just click on the link in the description section of this video. So for all the essential drills I've just mentioned, all you need is a kickboard. However, you can also use fins to help improve your speed and make these drills much easier, as well as a snorkel, which will help with breathing and give you one less thing to focus on when completing these drills. It's important to make sure you focus on one thing at a time, so if you're struggling to maintain speed, stay afloat or breathe at the same time as these drills, then this extra equipment will help you out. Swimming great freestyle isn't all about the kick, but a bad kick will undoubtedly hold you back in the water. This video has shown you the mechanics of a good kick, the mistakes and some good drills and the best tools to improve your kicking skills. Focusing on these elements will help you see huge improvements in both your speed and swimming efficiency. If you like this video, you'll probably like the one on screen too. And if you want more free swimming advice, then you should check out my freestyle swimming playlist. And don't forget to drop a comment below if you have any questions about swimming technique, and please hit like and subscribe for more swimming tips and guides.
Have you ever felt like you're gasping for air every few strokes while swimming? Well, that ends today. Discover how to master your swim breathing so that swimming feels easier and faster. In this video, we'll dive right into how you can master breathing during your freestyle swim stroke, from beginner tips to advanced drills that will transform your swim, no matter what your current ability level. Improving your breathing goes a long way to helping you feel more relaxed in the water. The more relaxed you are, the more you can focus on other areas of your swimming technique, and that's why mastering your breathing should be at the top of your technique checklist. Many swimmers subconsciously hold their breath while swimming. This can be helpful as it stops you from breathing in water. However, it also builds up carbon dioxide in your lungs, and that can lead to a panicky feeling of being out of breath. The first thing that all beginners and even some advanced swimmers should do is practice exhaling fully when your face is in the water. This simple drill, which you can even do in the bath, will prepare you to breathe out during your swim stroke when your face is in the water. Try simple exercises like blowing bubbles at the pool wall to get comfortable with this essential skill. You can blow air through your nostrils or through your mouth, whichever you prefer. But when you're swimming and your face is under the surface, you need to have a constant stream of bubbles coming out from either your nose or your mouth. Another way to master exhaling properly is to practice something called sink downs, which are a great drill for improving breath control and lung capacity.
For this drill, you simply take a deep breath, submerge yourself, and then slowly exhale until you sink. You don't have to be underwater for very long to get the benefit of this drill, so don't push yourself too far. This exercise teaches you to manage your breath effectively, which is an important skill for efficient swimming. And as with everything related to swimming, consistent practice is the most important thing to remember. The next step is to put this new breathing technique into practice, which we're going to do in the safest way possible, at the pool wall. You start with both hands on the pool wall and your body horizontal in the water, using a gentle kick to keep your legs on the surface. You'll be breathing out slowly and with control. After around 6 to 8 leg kicks, you'll remove one hand from the wall and take one freestyle stroke, taking a breath before replacing that hand on the wall and continuing to kick and breathe out underwater. Repeat this as often as you need to become comfortable breathing out underwater and turning your head to breathe in. Now that you've understood the importance of breathing out underwater, we can focus on breathing in whilst on the move and making use of something called the bow wave. This method uses the natural wave that your head creates as you swim through the water, almost like a little pocket of air. You can use this bow wave to inhale into without lifting your head too much. Lifting your head is an inefficient way of swimming because it makes your legs sink, and that makes swimming much more difficult. So when you come to inhale as you're swimming along, try to keep one of your eyes under the surface and one eye above the surface as you breathe in. That way you're less likely to over-rotate your head as you inhale. For a bonus tip on bow wave breathing, you could aim to shape your mouth like Popeyes as you swim. And if you're under 50 years old, that means breathing out to the side of your mouth. A bit like that. It might look a little odd, but many swimmers use this to keep their heads lower in the water and therefore their legs higher. The first drill I want you to try is a bilateral technique. This involves breathing alternately on both sides every 3 strokes. This helps keep your strokes symmetrical and evens out your muscle development so that you're not just getting strong on one side. It can also help you swim in a straighter line in open water, and it also means you're able to breathe away from any incoming waves. It takes some getting used to at first, so do feel free to practice using fins or a pull buoy. And remember to breathe into the bow wave, keeping one eye under the surface and one eye above as you inhale. The next drill to help implement good breathing technique is the 6-1-6 drill. For this drill, you'll kick on your side for 6 leg beats with your face in the water, blowing bubbles continuously. You'll then take one stroke. And as you take this stroke, turn your head to breathe and then pop your face back into the water as you take another 6 leg beats on the other side. This is a challenging drill to master, but one of the most effective for improving your breathing and your body position. I'd recommend starting this drill with fins on your feet, because that will make your kick more efficient. Are you making these common freestyle swim mistakes? Stick around to find out the top 5 errors that could be slowing you down and learn how to fix them for a smoother, faster swim. In this video, we're going to highlight the top 5.5 freestyle swim mistakes that I see many athletes make. I'm going to provide tips on how to fix them. And if you're wondering how you can make half a mistake, that final point is actually a mistake that we will make but often can't fix. You'll have to watch to the end to find out why. Many swimmers hold their heads too high in the water, which then causes their legs to sink and increases their drag. Keeping your head in the right position is important to maintain a streamlined body. Your head should be in a neutral position with your eyes looking slightly forward. This helps keep your body aligned as efficiently as possible. To help with this, focus on your head position during swimming, and when completing any swim drills, point your head towards the pool floor or slightly forwards. Maintain a relaxed neck and try to keep your body flat on the water's surface. Improper or irregular breathing can throw off your rhythm and cause you to lose momentum. Some swimmers lift their heads too far out of the water to breathe, causing their legs to sink. Others forget to exhale fully underwater, causing them to gasp for air. While some will over-rotate their head when breathing to get their face out of the water, and then they'll use a scissor kick to help them balance, and more on that scissor kick later. All of these are simple mistakes that are ingrained in your habits, which we can work on. To help solve these, practice exhaling fully underwater before turning your head to breathe. You should be able to see a constant stream of bubbles coming from your nose or from your mouth, rather than holding your breath and then letting your breath out all in one go. And when you rotate your head to breathe in, keep one eye under the water so that you don't over-rotate and ruin your streamline. Extending too far during the catch phase can create a pause in your swim stroke, reducing your efficiency and even leading to shoulder pain. While reaching forward is important, overextending can cause your body to sink and your stroke to become less effective. We always want to focus on a high elbow catch and engaging your latissimus dorsi muscles during the pull through. As soon as you reach forward in the water, think about catching the water with your fingertips and engaging your forearms to maximize the effectiveness of your catch. Your leading arm always wants to be moving, so try not to let it pause for too long at the front of your stroke. A crossover is a common issue that can happen as your hand enters the water. It's caused by your arm crossing the center line of your body rather than aiming straight towards the wall in front of you. A crossover can make it hard to swim in a straight line, and people often find themselves bumping into the lane ropes or heading towards the middle of the lane. It can also lead to scissor kicks, which you do subconsciously to keep yourself balanced in the water. To avoid a crossover, focus on pointing your middle finger towards the pool wall in front of you as your arm enters the water. You can also get special hand paddles called Finnis Freestylers, which are the shape of an arrowhead, and they help you ingrain the correct hand entry technique. Dropping your elbow during the pull-through phase leads to a weaker stroke and far less propulsion. It means your arm will slip through the water rather than grabbing hold of it for leverage. You always want to have a high elbow under the water because this maximizes the surface area of your arm to create more force. A high elbow also engages the larger muscle groups such as your lats, instead of relying on the smaller muscles in your shoulders. To correct a dropped elbow, you should try drills such as sculling or doggy paddle. These create more awareness on the importance of using your forearms to catch the water and help you feel your larger muscles working. I include these drills and more in my inexpensive triathlon training plans, which you can preview in the description section. Not swimming enough is not really a mistake because many of us simply don't have the time to train more, but consistency in swim training is crucial for your improvement. It's a skill-based sport that benefits greatly from regular practice. There are no shortcuts, and it's all about making tiny incremental improvements that all add up over time. Elite swimmers refer to this as feel for the water, and it's something you start losing after a few days out of the pool.
Are you a triathlete who gets breathless during the swim? In this video, I'll share the best strategies to help you build lasting strength and stamina in the pool. For many triathletes, swimming is the toughest part of the race. Struggling with breath control or just the monotony of lap after lap can make building swim endurance feel like an uphill battle. Well, today we'll dive into 7 common challenges that triathletes face in the pool and explore how to tackle them, no matter what your experience level. Do you feel breathless in the pool? Well, that's a common challenge for many swimmers, and it can lead to fatigue, discomfort, and even panic, especially if you're swimming in open water. But the good news is that with a few key adjustments, you can gain control and swim with greater ease. The first step is to refine your breathing technique. So start off by practicing bilateral breathing, and that's breathing on both sides. And doing that balances out your stroke and reduces the strain on your neck and shoulders. And it helps you stay more relaxed and efficient in the water. To make breathing a priority, begin each swim session with drills that are designed to improve this skill. For example, try breathing every 3 or 5 strokes to challenge your rhythm and build your endurance. And that's not going to happen overnight, but with consistent practice, it will help it feel more natural and allow you to swim longer and more confidently. Equally important is focusing on rhythmic breathing. So ensure that you're exhaling constantly while your face is in the water, rather than holding your breath. Holding your breath creates a buildup of carbon dioxide, which can lead to feelings of panic. Smooth, continuous exhalation helps keep you calm and prevents that breathlessness sensation. You can also incorporate breath control exercises like hypoxic training to expand your lung capacity and build your confidence. So start by slightly reducing the frequency of your breaths during a length, but always stay within your comfort zone and never push to the point of discomfort or dizziness. So with hypoxic breathing, you might breathe every 5 strokes instead of every 2 or every 3. Or you could even try breathing every 7 strokes, but like I say, see how you get on. With these strategies, you'll find that breathlessness becomes less of an issue, allowing you to swim more efficiently and confidently, both in the pool and in the open water.
The next challenge to tackle is tired shoulders, and that's a common issue that will cut your swim short and increase your risk of injury. One of the main causes of shoulder fatigue is an inefficient freestyle technique. A key fix is to focus on a high elbow catch. So once your arm enters the water, you lift your elbow high while pointing your hand, forearm and wrist towards the bottom of the pool. And doing this allows you to grab the water more effectively, and it engages the larger back muscles rather than overloading just your shoulders. So think of it a bit like pulling yourself along a wide ladder that's on the bottom of the pool, using your back for power rather than relying just on your shoulders. In addition to improving your technique, incorporating strength training can make a big difference too. So exercises like resistance band pulls, scapular push-ups and planks help build endurance in the muscles that support your shoulders whilst you're swimming. You can either dedicate a separate strength session to focus on shoulder endurance, or you can include a quick resistance band routine as part of your warm-up before swimming, which some people do. And strengthening these key areas will not only reduce shoulder fatigue, but it also improves your overall swimming efficiency and helps you swim for longer. Let's be honest, swimming lap after lap, staring at the same line on the bottom of the pool can get boring quickly. And for many triathletes, swim training feels like the least inspiring part of their routine. But with a few tweaks, you can make it a bit more enjoyable and engaging. So first, I would say always have a plan for your solo swim sessions. Going in without one often leads to unstructured, less effective workouts, or worse, you end up cutting your session short because you're bored and you want to get out. Pre-planning your sessions keeps you focused and ensures you get the most out of your time in the pool. So mixing up your strokes can also add variety to your swimming as well. So try incorporating a little bit of backstroke or breaststroke to engage different muscle groups. You can also use swim aids like kickboards for targeted leg work or pull buoys to isolate your arms, making your session both more interesting and effective. Breaking your workout into smaller, manageable sets with specific goals is another great way to stay engaged. For instance, swimming 5 times 200 meters, focusing on technique, followed by 4 times 100 meters at a faster pace. This keeps your mind occupied and gives you small wins throughout the session. Group swims are another fantastic option. One of my favorite sessions that I do is a group swim, and I do that a couple of times a week. And the friendly competition and the poolside coach and the social atmosphere not only push me harder, but also make the time fly by. And I get to see what other people are doing underwater, and I learn from that as well. However, if you're swimming solo, you could consider investing in a waterproof MP3 player. I haven't tried these myself yet, but I do rely on music for motivation during my bike and run workouts, so I imagine it could work wonders for long swim sessions too. As fatigue sets in during longer swims, it's common for your technique to fall apart, and this makes your stroke less efficient, causing you to tire even faster. When this happens, it's easy to feel frustrated, like you're not fit enough or you're not improving. But sometimes fatigue is simply just the result of external factors, like a tough training session the day before your swim. Remember that fatigue is normal, especially when you're balancing a busy training schedule. When I'm fatigued in the water, I stop focusing on speed and instead shift my attention to technique drills that reinforce good form. For example, I find the fist drill, where you swim front crawl with your fists clenched, helps me really improve my catch and feeling like I'm getting hold of the water. And these small tweaks make a big difference in maintaining efficiency. Another thing I always remind myself, if I don't include longer swim sessions in my training, I can't expect to build endurance. For instance, most weeks I swim 2 or 3 sessions of around 2 kilometers, but unless I occasionally push beyond 2K, it never starts feeling easy. That 2K always feels hard. If that sounds familiar, try gradually increasing the distance of one of your weekly swims. By doing this, your muscles and nervous system are forced to adapt, and then that makes it easier to maintain proper form over longer distances. Lastly, keep your focus simple. When working on your technique, pick one aspect at a time to avoid overwhelming yourself. Trying to fix everything at once often leads to confusion and mediocre results. So rather than doing that, just focus on mastering one thing at a time before moving on to the next thing. By tackling fatigue by doing drills, gradual distance increases and single point focus, you'll improve your endurance and keep your technique sharp even on the longer swims. Do you feel like you've been working hard in the water but you're not seeing progress? Well, that can be frustrating, but a few strategic adjustments can help you find your next breakthrough.
Firstly, follow a structured swim plan. Random, unplanned sessions are a fast track to plateauing. Rather than doing that, stick to a training plan that balances intensity and volume. A good plan should include endurance swims, interval sets, and plenty of recovery to allow your body to adapt and improve. Secondly, prioritize consistency over intensity. So swimming shorter distances more frequently can be more effective than doing sporadic long sessions. Regular swimming helps you build a solid aerobic base and maintain that all-important feel for the water. If you're swimming just once a week, try adding another short session to your routine because that can make a really big difference. Finally, track your progress. Keep a swim log or use apps like Strava or Training Peaks to record your times, distances, and how you felt during each session. Reviewing this data can help you identify patterns, track improvements, and pinpoint areas that need more attention. For me, I'm really acutely aware of how my swim speeds change when I swim less often or I swim less distance per week. And that does remind me of the need to kind of keep progressing my swimming and not just be doing the same thing all the time. By following a structured plan, swimming consistently and monitoring your progress, you'll set yourself up for steady improvements in swim endurance. Some triathletes find that they can easily cover race day distances in the swimming pool, yet they struggle and tire more quickly in open water. This is common and it's often linked to feelings of anxiety and the lack of mini breaks you get at the wall in a pool, and even the added resistance of wearing a wetsuit, which can cause shoulder fatigue. These challenges are normal, but they can really impact your endurance and performance. So fortunately, there are no simple strategies to help here, but one key solution is to practice open water specific skills. For example, incorporate sighting into your swims by lifting your head every few strokes, just as you would in the open water to navigate. You can also train in busier pool lanes to get used to swimming near others, simulating the crowded conditions of a race. Spending more time in open water is another game changer, so start with short swims in safe, familiar environments and gradually increase your time and distance as your confidence grows. Much like building endurance with a long run, these kind of swims will improve your fitness, boost your confidence, and strengthen your shoulders, especially if you're practicing in a wetsuit. Finally, if anxiety is holding you back, visualization and breathing techniques can help. Picture yourself having a calm, successful open water swim. Before getting in, practice deep breathing exercises to manage nerves, and then once in the water, focus on your technique to keep your mind engaged and your anxiety at bay. With consistent practice and these strategies, open water swimming will become less daunting and far more enjoyable. Starting out too fast, especially on race day, is one of the most common issues that leads to early fatigue in open water swimming. Going out hard can quickly drain your energy, not only impacting your swim, but also the rest of your race. Luckily, there are strategies to help you master pacing. First, it's essential to learn how to pace yourself without relying on a watch, as you won't have that feedback during a race. Tools like tempo trainers can help you find and maintain a steady rhythm during training, and they're little devices that you put on your goggle straps that beep to remind you to swim at that cadence. Another strategy is to incorporate negative splits into your training, and that means swimming the second half of your distance slightly faster than the first. And doing this teaches you to conserve energy early on and finish strong, which is a valuable skill for race day. I had a coach who used to say if you were doing 100 meters and the pool was 25 meters, you should do the first 25 at 7 out of 10, the next one at 8 out of 10, the next one at 9 out of 10, and then the final 25, you would do it at 10 out of 10. And that normally led to an even split across all 4 25s, even though you were trying harder towards the end. So another thing you can do is just to really focus on pacing during your swim sessions. So you can practice intervals aimed at maintaining consistent effort throughout. For example, swim 5 lots of 200 meters, targeting the same time for each set. This helps you resist the urge to start too hard while training your body to sustain a steady pace over time. By mastering your pacing in training, you'll build the skills and awareness you need to avoid early fatigue, setting yourself up for a strong, efficient swim and a successful race. Think you can't overhaul your swimming in a few months? Think again. In just 3 months, I transformed my swim technique after an 8-year break, and today I'll share exactly how I did it. I hung up my goggles for nearly a decade. When I finally jumped back in the pool, I felt like a complete beginner again. My stroke was sloppy, I was gasping for air after a few lengths, and my legs felt like anchors. But here's the good news. Within just 3 months, I dramatically improved my technique and got faster and more efficient. and was swimming as well as I ever have. So if I can do that after an 8-year hiatus, hopefully you can too. So whether you're a beginner or an experienced triathlete looking to shake up your swim, these are the steps that worked for me. When I first returned to swimming, I made a classic mistake. I tried muscling my way through the water with brute force and zero focus on technique. But it didn't work, surprisingly enough. I quickly learned that swimming isn't like running. You can't just work harder to go faster if your form is off. In fact, coaches will tell you that technique is perhaps more important than fitness when it comes to swimming. Every swimmer, no matter how fit, is usually held back by a technical flaw in their stroke. So the first step for me was a mindset shift. I stopped worrying about speed or yardage, and I started prioritizing technique on every lap. So remember that every single stroke is a chance to practice good form and build better habits. Improving your swim efficiency through better technique can actually be a faster way to get quick results than just grinding out laps. And once I embraced that idea, the real progress began. Surprisingly, swimming slow at first made me faster later. I learned to slow down my stroke by about 20 to 30%, and then I focused on relaxed rhythmic breathing. And the effect was almost immediate. I could suddenly swim for longer distances without exhausting myself. I realised I wasn't exhaling properly underwater for a start. And that's a common rookie mistake, holding your breath or breathing erratically. That can lead to breathlessness and even feelings of panic. Plus it adds drag when you have to exhale and inhale during the same head turn. So I started focusing on exhaling fully underwater with bubbles coming out of my nose or my mouth in a constant stream. And then that meant that every breath in was quicker and cleaner and more efficient too. And that small change did make a big difference. By not rushing and by keeping my breathing steady, I built a solid aerobic base in the water. So if you're out of breath quickly, try easing off the sprint mentality. Relax, slow your stroke a bit, and get comfortable inhaling and exhaling in a rhythm. It's amazing how much further and faster you can go once you're calm and oxygenated. Next, I tackled my body position, essentially how my body aligned and floated in the water. After many years off, my legs were dragging a bit lower than they had done before, and my head was way too high when I tried to breathe. And this created tons of drag. The key change was keeping my head in more of a neutral, down-facing position, instead of looking too far forwards. I looked towards the bottom of the pool instead. And this simple fix brought my hips and legs up instantly, reducing drag. By pressing my chest down a bit and tightening my core, I achieved a better horizontal line in the water. I even used a pull buoy for a few lengths to feel what a high hip position should feel like. And that's the little float that you put between your legs, and that can train your hips to ride higher. Along with my head position, I worked on keeping my kick nice and compact and steady for balance, instead of a big inefficient flail or doing the splits, as I realised I was doing occasionally. I'm not naturally a strong kicker, but a gentle, continuous kick helped me get stable. And the takeaway here is to become more streamlined. Head down, hips up, feet behind you, not below you. And when your body is aligned properly, you'll glide through water with way less effort. It sets the stage for an efficient stroke. So with the basics of balance and breathing hopefully sorted, I turned to targeted drills and swim tools to refine my stroke. I didn't just mindlessly swim laps either. I dedicated part of each session to drilling proper technique. For example, I did drills like fingertip drag, which taught me to keep a high elbow recovery, and catch-up drill, which improved my front end coordination and helped me increase the distance of my stroke. And these drills helped rewire my muscle memory. Keep in mind, not every drill is useful for every swimmer. You want to choose drills that address your specific weaknesses. In my case, I noticed I was crossing over the center line with my hands, so I focused on kicking on my side with one arm extended. I also incorporated some swim gadgets to help ingrain good form. Hand paddles, for instance, gave me feedback on my pull and built a little bit of strength, hopefully, but I used them sparingly because I didn't want to overstress my shoulders. A swimmer's snorkel was another game changer because it allowed me to practice my swim stroke without worrying about turning my head to breathe all the time. And I often grabbed a pull buoy to isolate my upper body and ensure my hips stayed up. Using a pull buoy is a great way to practice proper hip position and rotation while giving your legs a break. So these tools, paddles, buoys, fins, even ankle bands, can all be used to improve aspects of your technique and build swim-specific strength. The key is using them purposefully and not as a crutch. I always try to translate what I felt during a drill back into my full stroke right away. Drills and tools help you learn the feeling of a better technique, and then you can gradually apply that technique into your normal swim stroke. Perhaps the most important element of all was consistent practice. I committed to swimming at least twice per week for those 3 months, no excuses. I gradually built up my endurance by swimming a little further each time, while hopefully holding my technique together. And this frequency was crucial, because swimming is very much a use it or lose it skill. And by hitting the water regularly, I rebuilt my feel for the water and reinforced the new techniques until they became second nature. Remember, every session doesn't need to be a killer workout, it just needs to have quality. Consistency beats intensity when you're trying to ingrain new habits. I also didn't go it alone. I asked a friend to film me swimming a few laps, and watching that footage was eye-opening. I spotted things I couldn't feel myself, which let me know what to fix. If you have access to a coach or a swim instructor, that's even better. The fastest way to improve your swimming is to attend coached swim sessions, which is what I did next. A good coach can quickly point out your biggest issues and give you specific cues to work on. And don't be afraid to ask for help or critique. The coach at my master's swim group will occasionally give me pointers like, your right arm needs to pull through wider. And each little tip does make a difference. The bottom line, seek outside eyes to accelerate your improvement. It can validate that you're on the right track or save you weeks of trial and error by correcting a mistake early. Combine that feedback with consistent practice and you'll be amazed at how fast you improve. By the end of 3 months, my swim was completely transformed. I went from gasping through a few lengths to confidently swimming continuous sets with efficient form. My stroke felt smoother, my times gradually dropped, and I knew that at my next triathlon I'd come out of the water fresher for the bike and run. And the best part? I actually enjoy swimming more because it doesn't feel like I'm fighting with the water. So if you remember nothing else, take this to heart. Focus on technique and the speed will follow. I improved more in 3 months by focusing on form and consistency than I did in years of just grinding out laps without thinking about technique so much. So whether you're a newbie struggling to make it down to the pool or an experienced triathlete who's hit a plateau, dedicate a block of time to honing your swim technique. You can change your swim for the better in a short time, and hopefully I'm living proof. So if you found this helpful, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments section where you're at with your swim training. And if you want to keep going, watch the video on screen right now, or check out our full swim technique and training playlist for a deeper dive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.